more time as an entrepreneur myself and helping other entrepreneurs. So today I am going to speak about this subject as well as what I think should be happening in this country. Now, Silicon Valley has seen tremendous growth during my lifetime. Because the transistor was invented when I was only a couple of years old. And from that single transistor, shockingly, about 10 years later, who was one of the investors, inventor came here and started Shockley Semiconductor Lab. And he was in Mountain View, and he had bright guys join him, but it turned out to be, he didn't manage them well, so 8 of them left and formed Fairchild. It's a famous company in our life. But then from Fairchild came Intel, AMD, as well as National Semiconductor. So what happens? Why do these companies get started? Silicon Valley has seen technology change very, very fast. To give you an idea, that single transistor from that time started growing at an exponential rate in number, and Intel's founder, Gordon, he predicted that it will be exponential and it will double every 2 years. And that trend continued. And over this period, now we have in our latest chip 200 billion transistors. Could have never imagined that many transistors. So, what happens? How is it that this valley has continued to grow and entrepreneurs have been able to start companies and make it successful even in presence of mighty companies with greater resources? Well, the answer to this question lies in the fact that technology develops in steps. It goes through transitions, and every transition gives an entrepreneur opportunity to do things differently. And the large companies may even ignore or poo-poo whatever the entrepreneurs are saying. I have a direct experience with this, and I'll share that with you. So now, I will share with you, for purposes of analyzing how startups happen. Okay? I was a professor at the University of Utah, okay? And I had been working on problem of the day, which was we were getting transistors after transistors. And at that time, in 1980, the chips had 100,000 transistors, which we thought was tremendously large number. And we could easily see million transistor chips. And we were already having great difficulty in completing the design of 100,000 transistor in timely enough manner, like within 2 years. It was getting very difficult. Of course, we have been talking about design automation software to help us in doing that. Okay? So I was in academics So obviously, when there are problems, you try to work on solutions. And in my case, I came from the world of computer science. Of course, my undergraduate education was in electronics. Okay? So I had, understanding of both semiconductor as well as software. Okay? A good combination. Remember, a lot of good startups happen when you combine, different disciplines. Okay, so here it was. So I had taken that challenge to do what is now called silicon compiler. But I was not in Silicon Valley. So I was not influenced by the thinking of Silicon Valley. I was thinking, from ground up as a computer scientist, how to do a silicon compiler. So this is the work that was supported by National Science Foundation, and I got a support from General Instrument Corporation, which had a fab. And that is why I had come to the University of Utah from MIT to access this fab. So anyway, during the 70s, we did the work, me and my students, and by end of the 70s, we had developed a proof that what I was talking actually worked. So I'll show you the first slide.
You can move it.
No, where's the second slide? Yeah, this first slide. It says on it, 1981. Okay? This chip was not designed in a traditional way. It came out of whatever programs we had put together at the university for silicon compilation. Okay? And you can see how regular it was. Okay? And this was to prove to myself as well as people who were funding me that whatever thing I was talking, which most of Silicon Valley didn't believe in, okay, actually worked. And so this was the chip. Now, having developed this chip was not just an exercise in itself. In order to make sure I wasn't cheating, General Instrument gave me the requirement stack of a chip that they had given another big company to make. This was an application-specific chip. So I had the same data. The big company was working on it for 2 years and still hadn't delivered it. Okay. So I got the same information and I went about putting it together. Took me 3 months to design it, gave it to General Instrument, and they manufactured it. And just as it has always been, every chip I designed using my methodology worked the first time. Whatever little corrections were necessary would be done by changing the metal mask. So this is incredible, because it costs too much time and money to do the chip. So anyway, this success of this chip, gave me, sort of encouragement to perhaps, build a company. I tried to convince Silicon Valley companies to take my methodology and give jobs for my students, but nobody was interested in whatever I had developed because it was a different way of doing things. So since I had good relationship with General Instrument Corporation, I proposed to them that they give me a contract, to develop a system. Now, remember, you see, I was starting a company, but I didn't meet the normal requirement of Silicon Valley. It was very strange. The company was called Patil Systems. It was started in the research park of University of Utah. And the first strike against it was not in Silicon Valley. The second strike was the only people who